Ohio State beat Indiana yesterday. That's the good news for the Buckeyes. 23-3. And boy, were there some takes on this one. So, I got to be honest with you. I don't share a popular opinion with most of you on this game. You know I got Ohio State in the national title game. And I was getting laughed at yesterday after this result. I believe if art galleries were run by a lot of you, they would just be empty. Because a lot of you would throw the painting away when it was a quarter of the way done, and you would say, this painting sucks. And the artist would be like, it's not done. Like, wait a second. Understand where I'm going with this. Nope. Take your brush, take your easel, get out of here. Next. That's how a lot of folks watch football. That's how a lot of folks judge football teams. Week 1, you ignore Meemaw's advice. You don't just observe week 1. A lot of you draw conclusions in week 1. It will bite you. It's bitten you before. I think you get amnesia every single offseason, which some of you celebrate proudly, apparently. And you're right back to diving into conclusions after week 1. And the conclusion is Ohio State's offense is terrible. They're going to lose 2 or 3 games and burn it down. Let's start all over. I smiled yesterday as I watched this game. And I didn't smile because I'm anti-Ohio State. In fact, I'm kind of rooting for them because selfishly I want to be right and I want to see them go to the national title game. I was not shook. A lot of people were shook when they watched this yesterday. I smiled. And I smiled because of this quote, which I kept in my back pocket from a show 2 weeks ago. And it sounds a little something like this. Quote, I think Ohio State's going to play for a national championship. I also think Ohio State could look really ugly to start the season. That quote was delivered by me on this show. I got exactly what I thought I'd get yesterday, believe it or not. I thought they'd look hideous offensively. Because I don't think the quarterback situation and the offensive line situation has lent itself to firing on all cylinders out of the gate. I saw a really good question over on Bucknuts earlier. I was perusing. I was just trying to feel out the fan base, and they are varying degrees of unhappy right now. But someone said, well, this was about a 3-touchdown win. What if we won 42-21 instead? Because that would be kind of a normal Ohio State score from the past several years. What if we won 42-21? And the general consensus was, I would probably be a lot more comfortable because what would that mean? Well, that would mean the offense is right there where it needs to be. And the talking point would be, we just got to clean some things up defensively. I look at this team in a totally inverted direction. I would much rather look at defense, completely suffocate a team. And by the way, it's the first time Ohio State's held a team to 3 or less since 2019. They don't do this stuff. Even against horrific offenses, Ohio State does not play this kind of defense. But maybe they do now. I'd a whole lot rather have that defense playing that caliber and looking at Ohio State and saying, when offense gets going, then this will be a championship caliber team. Because there's a thing that I can assume a lot easier. I can assume a lot easier Ryan Day and his staff are eventually going to get a pretty good offensive product on the field than I can Ohio State is going to put a really solid defensive product on the field if I don't already have it. Because I've seen no track record in recent history to indicate they're going to be anywhere close to elite defensively. So if all of a sudden they look like that, and I do have a track record of them being really good offensively, I'll just take my chances there. I'm a guy who thinks the world of them. I thought they'd look terrible yesterday. So I got what I expected. So I'm not upset about it. I just wonder what those staff meetings sound like today. That's what I wonder. Chip Kelly had a good line last night. They ended up beating Coastal Carolina, but it wasn't really pretty, but they beat Coastal Carolina. And he said, selfishly, as a coach, sometimes these are the kinds of wins you want early. Yeah, you'd love to dominate. You'd love to run it up and score half 100. But selfishly, for what I need to put in this team's head the rest of the way, it's really good if we win ugly games early. And I wonder how many other staffs feel that way right now. I wonder if we may not have a staff in Columbus, Ohio, that was a little bit more hidden smile behind the curtain, pleased that they won yesterday, but it was kind of ugly. Because you sometimes never know. You never know how a staff really feels because they're pretty closed off with that kind of information. Look, Ohio State's offensive staff could be sitting there saying, Kyle McCord's our guy at quarterback, bar none. Let's commit to him and let's ride him. And as far as he can take us, that's where we're going to go. It could be that that's the case. I'm not claiming to know anything otherwise. I am claiming to have a little hunch that that's not totally the case. I am claiming to have a little hunch that that entire coaching staff's not all in on Kyle McCord, because you got Devin Brown in that room too. And so, let's say I'm running Pate State and I got a couple of quarterbacks. And maybe I put one out there and I ride him the whole way. I don't really insert the other guy because I want it to be glaringly obvious what we've got with him. I'm not saying Kyle McCord played bad football yesterday. Offensive line left a lot to be desired. It's a collective effort. You get all that. We all understand how football works, I think. But I watched what happened yesterday, and Kyle McCord, you wouldn't define him as electric, game breaker. You wouldn't call him elite in any way, at least at this point in his career. And there's been really good feedback come out of that camp from some people about Devin Brown. So what I wonder, without an answer right now, is I wonder if that staff doesn't get together and meet, and instead of saying what you think they're saying, I wonder if that staff doesn't get together and meet and say, all right, there you go. And maybe you're looking across the room at certain people and saying, all right, there you go. You wanted to ride McCord? Well, this is us with Kyle McCord. So now, who wants to try the Devin Brown experience out? I just wonder if that may not be the dynamic there. So I wasn't surprised by what I saw yesterday. But my feel is that defense is where it needs to be. My feel is offense will eventually get where it needs to be. My feel with that defense is offense does not need to be where it's been in the past. And in the aggregate, get that offensive line figured out, which has a ways to go based on what we saw yesterday. Yes, I still think exactly what I thought about Ohio State this time last week. I still think they can win every game they play. I still think they can be a national championship caliber team. I'm just glad we don't play it next week. I'm glad they don't play Michigan next week. I'm glad they don't play the Big Ten title game or a playoff game next week. That is the beauty of this sport. You get 12 of these things, not just one.